Good evening, folks. This is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Friday, December 15th, 11:58 p.m. 2017. A massive seismic uptick. And if we come over here to spaceweather.com, we're in an active event currently on the sun as I'm making the video, but the seismic uptick is because of this drop down in the solar wind and the KP being at 0 for the last 6 hours. We've been in geomagnetic quiescence for 2 days, resting the lithosphere of the Earth, and now it's dropped off, allowing that seismic activity to uptick. When you relax, the Earth, the quakes will rumble, and they're rumbling hard, folks. We're going to be covering a deadly quake over here in Indonesia tonight, but as I just uploaded this, we have a 4.4 in Fiji kicking off, a 4.3 here in the Central America area, which has been riddled by moderate quakes, including Guatemala. We have moderately large quakes in Japan, and a whole bunch of moderate quakes up in Alaska, including several at Redoubt Volcano. Let's talk about the picture of the week. Big snow for the Big Easy. We're not in Kansas anymore. At a quick glance, you might think it's a photo of snowy fields. We're taken somewhere over the Great Plains. Nope, this is New Orleans. This is record-breaking stuff here. We're going to cover the records. Lake Charles picked up 2.1 inches of snow, the most since '73. Across Texas, from this southern store we saw a few days ago at the border of Houston, people saw their first accumulating snow since December 2009. Further along the south coast of Texas, Corpus Christi saw its first snow in 13 years. The last time it was Christmas Eve, 2004. Same for Brownsville. For other places like San Antonio, Birmingham, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi, it was among the top 5 snowiest December days on record. Boom. According to Jeff Linder, a meteorologist in Houston, this was the first time one storm brought snow to every single Gulf Coast state since 1895. Grand solar minimum much? Boom. That brings us back to the Glassberg minimum right here in cycle 12, which is looking very similar to cycle 24. Don't you think, folks? Wonder if they're lying to us about this global warming nonsense. Well, we suggested chasing the powder to the northeast. Here at Open Snow, the storm delivered midweek totals in the 15 to 20 inch range for southern New England. By Wednesday morning, the northern mountains caught up with cold air and orographic snowfall, providing 2 feet in snow in Jay Peak. Oh, heads up, Vermont. Below is a pic from Jay Peak Thursday morning. Before winter. Our winter in America starts the 21st of December. In the west, expect light snow from the Pacific Northwest. But guys, if you're from the west, heads up. Big snow coming, as per usual. The panhandle of Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, by early Saturday morning we'll see snow. Totals will be light to moderate, 3 to 6, perhaps higher amounts in the upper elevations of the Tetons. Total moisture for the Tetons is less than half an inch of liquid, which gives it 4 to 6 inches of snow. Colder temperatures by midday Saturday may enhance snowfall ratios in Wyoming and Montana, so amounts may creep higher. Cosmic ray flux much. I suspect some powder by late AM Saturday, 2 to 5, 3 to 5 Saturday PM. Now, guys, it gets big. Light to moderate snow will increase over the Pacific Northwest Sunday afternoon through Monday. Expect decent amounts to fall over the North Cascades, 4 to 8 during the period, with leftovers aimed at the panhandle of Idaho. And now, the extended forecast. Boom! I'm excited that some areas. A strong cold front that slams the Pacific Northwest Tuesday PM should drag 1 to 2 feet of snow over many areas of Washington and Oregon. There's a big boom. Look at the coverage here. British Columbia, you are going to get buried. You've had record snow for the last 2 months, and it will not quit. This is an atmospheric compression event. Look at the depths. This is in the 28-inch range in these circles, which are everywhere. And we're talking 1 to 2 feet here in at least 5 states, including the high Cascades here. That's a heads up. Now, guys, this is in Northern California. They're expanding the shelter services for frigid weather conditions in Northern Cali. Extreme cold weather alert terminated as of noon today up in Toronto, but it doesn't mean it's going to be warm. It goes from -6 to 0. Heads up there. Extreme weather warning, killer, -14 freeze and snow to grip Britain. Arctic conditions will grip Britain today and into the weekend as health warnings are issued for killer cold weather. And look at, they show this nice warm back map here. Look at this. Look how warm it looks. Icy patches. The government last night extended severe weather action warning until Sunday. Snow has hit the country this week, bringing in travel chaos, ice-covered roads, and railways. Public Health England and the Met Office warned the extreme freeze will increase the risks of vulnerable while disrupting public services. That's the homeless. Be nice. They need our help. Cold snap hammers sea turtles. Sea turtles need our help, as well as the homeless. 43 sea turtles are being treated after washing ashore in North Carolina because it's too cold during global warming. Did you hear something pop? Just like their domesticated cousins, wild animals can suffer when it gets cold. It doesn't get unseasonably cold that it hurts natural wildlife when the earth is warming, folks. Hello? Who's still holding on to that? I'll leave you links to that article. It's quite sad and tragic. Birds are going to freeze out of the sky. They already did this week in Scandinavia. We really don't have time to cover everything. I can't even get a page to load on here. Look what's happening. Wildfires have decimated America's top region for avocados and lemons. Crop loss much. California grows practically all the fresh produce America loves to eat. These 6 blazes still raging are destroying the avocado and lemon growing areas. And here's another crazy story. To ensure energy supply during global warming, now and for the future in global warming, New York is making sure it has enough to heat the state. Did you know as this bitterly cold weather hits us, New York State's electric system is prepared to get you through no matter how deep the temperature drops? Is that foreshadowing? This world is creeping me out. Coffee shortage could be looming. Ah! Say it ain't so. This is some serious shit, guys. Coffee shortages only occur during cooling. And if you read this article, they'll barely mention anything and say maybe it warmed a degree. We don't know. But it's very sensitive to coffee, to temperature. Guys, Adapt 2030 started his channel because he was a commodities trader in the Arabica bean business. Heads up. We already knew the coffee was going away. That's why I have thousands of pounds stockpiled in my... Never mind. Strong explosion lava overflow from Stromboli's northeast crater in Italy. I wonder why that is. Are we at KP0? Ah, I must have been psychic. I knew Stromboli was blowing today. So guys, we covered this yesterday. We knew it was going to blow today because yesterday we saw the seismic uptick in Sicily and throughout Italy. And then when you drop the KP down to 0 and increase cosmic rays, heat the muons, boom! At least 2 stronger than usual explosions took place at Italy's Stromboli over the past 24 hours. The first explosion took place 1:30 UTC and the second at 10:30. Gigantic cloud of smoke was visible from the other islands in the archipelago, La Stampa reported. Activity is still intense, and lava began overflowing over the northern edge of N1 crater depression. Look at the heat signature. That's amazing. It looks like Alien versus Predator. Do you remember that? Never mind. Let's see if we can get something to happen here for 34 seconds. According to LGS, a sudden increase in all monitored parameters started at the volcano at 10:40 UTC. The seismic tremor is very high and is accompanied by a sharp increase of infrastronic... Oh, whatever. Let's look at it. Way better just to look. Boom! Damn! Could you imagine if you were camping there? Whew. Talk of... Oh my goodness. Imagine the flesh coming off your body as you pitched your tent. Whew. That is hot. Now that's global warming. caused by global cooling. Right there in the crater. Ha! All you alarmists should go and get some. I'll leave you links. It's fun to cover the destruction of the planet. Yesterday we talked about the uptick at Canlaon volcano in the Philippines. And here is a basic linear progression from the 16th of November to today on what has occurred. There were some earthquakes, 10, then 20, then 10, then 19. Then a low energy eruption started on the 9th. And then there were 1,380 earthquakes. Boom! And then they updated the alert. So that's what happens when it comes up that quick. Stay away from Canlaon and the Philippines. Deadly 6.9 hit Java. That was when the KP went down to 0. There's the earthquake in question. Got downgraded to 6.5 because of the friendly USGS. Thank you. But it has killed 2 so far. And then we've just had more major and minor quakes in the Guatemala area. Huge uptick here. Something else of note I want to point out. It's probably 10 quakes in this area. If we go to 1 day all magnitude, when the KP drops to 0, I look for volcanic activity on the east coast of the U.S. And sure enough, there's an interesting cluster bomb of up here in St. Helens. If we come in real quick, there is a bunch in the hole. And look at them registering at nothing. 0, negative 0.0, negative 0.0, and negative 0.1. That is a negative magnitude earthquake in the crater of Mount St. Helens happening now. 2 on the small crater that formed after the eruption, and 4 on the larger crater. And the entire volcanic field here is awake and alive, as well as the San Andreas folks. Oh, a lot to cover. There's a plasma filament that just came off the sun, and I've been analyzing it. That's why this video is coming out late. But first, I want to show you this video about the Geminids and something I gleaned about the Geminids that I think will interest you. They're one of the most prolific and reliable showers. We saw an average of about 100 this Geminid that just peaked yesterday. And it's only 200 years old. Isn't that interesting? The Geminids are less than 200 years old. Huh. Go figure. What does that mean? Well, it means that they weren't observed until 1863 or something. 1862 was when they were first observed, the Geminids. Now, the Geminids are a type of Palladian asteroids, which are this short periodicity type asteroids called B-type asteroids with high inclinations in the intermediate asteroid belt. Here are the proper orbital elements, and I'll leave you links to all this so you can learn something about Pallas family rock bodies, namely the Geminids, which are first observed in 1862, and much more recently than other showers as the Perseids. They were observed a lot earlier, up to 3,000 years earlier. And this parent body is comet Phaethon, which we're going to be talking about. A giant asteroid or comet called 3200 Phaethon after Greek god who almost destroyed the world to hurtle past Earth tomorrow. A giant space rock named 3200 Phaethon is around half the size of the asteroid, will wipe out the dinosaurs. There's a picture. There's its movement. There's the rock. Bonk, bang, bing, boom. I'll let you read about it. It's going to come by tomorrow. You can watch the simulation. You can do all those fancy things. But I want you to look at this. This is the artwork associated with Phaethon, the Greek god that destroyed the world. And I'll leave you links to that. And you can peruse that. But let's get to the meat and the bones of the plasma filament that just erupted from the sun. The 6th such plasma filament in 4 weeks. This is a solar minimum phenomenon. that we're experiencing. Now watch, this is a halo eruption. It's coming from both directions. This is headed our way, folks. And we'll look at the eruption on the surface of the sun right now. Will you join me? So this is happening just recently. We'll go full screen and we'll go earlier today. Well, it doesn't want to play for me now, folks. Ain't that a bummer? Well, we can take C2 view and the C3 view. And this is from the back of the sun. And if you watch, it's going to reset now. And we'll go to the beginning of the eruption. It's quite long. It's about 3 hours. And you can see it emanating from both sides of the back of the sun. Now, this was from the front of the disk, which means that this is headed our way. And here we'll see it in full. It's a little lighter from the front here, and there's that little missing time, but there's definitely a halo, and this is an Earth-directed plasma filament coming towards a planet near you. I'll be doing an update video on this shortly. But before I leave, I want to show you Tony Heller, Real Climate Science. He put out a video today that is amazing about the Arctic. Now, what it shows is some of the fraudulent maps. And let's just come to this one here. And we'll let it play. And what you're about to see is the sea ice thickness on the 11th of December this year, which is just a few days ago. Coming from the Danish Meteorological Institute, this is showing you sea ice thickness in the Arctic. The entire Arctic is covered before the winter solstice in ice, and the majority of the ice is almost 3 meters thick. Come right down here. 3 meters. It's 9 feet of ice in all these green areas. The red areas are almost 12 foot of ice. Now, this is multi-year ice left over from the last melts. Okay? So we have multi-year ice covering the entire Arctic left over from previous years. That's how much they're lying. They're lying so bad that if you just fast forward, watch this. I'm going to leave you links to his channel. It's AKA Steve Goddard and Toto, Real Climate Science on the web. We're going to jump forward, backwards, I'm sorry, to 2010. So just notice the thickness of the ice and the multi-year ice covering the entire Arctic 3 days ago. Boom! Here we are in 2007, 10 years ago. The Arctic was mostly ice-free at the same time in December. 10 years later, we have record ice. 10 years ago, not so much ice. 10 years later, record ice. Not so much ice, record ice. 10 years ago, there wasn't so much ice. Just a little bit of multi-year ice here. 3 days ago, the entire Arctic is covered in multi-year ice cap. This is sea ice floating on the ocean. It's not easy to get that, folks. I hope you got something out of the video. There was so much to cover. Times are changing quickly. I wish I had all day to do this. Guys, get involved as a member of our Patreon. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. Be safe.